More than 7 million Indonesians earn their living from fishing. For them, the South China Sea isn't a vague theoretical conflict. It's about jobs. It's about the daily dangers that they're facing at sea. It's about fairness. The woman I'm going to be talking to, they call her the champion of the fishermen, a hero. She's had the guts to do things to defend Indonesian fishing rights that no one else has dared to. Indonesian President Joko Widodo appointed Susi Pudjiastuti as Minister for Maritime Affairs and Fisheries. She became infamous when she started capturing ships fishing illegally in Indonesian waters, taking the crew off and then, very dramatically, blowing up the seized ships. These included vessels from China. She stopped being minister just before COVID in 2019, with some saying her methods were simply too controversial and contrary to Jakarta's desire to be on better terms with Beijing. Chinese firms are helping to build crucial projects in Indonesia, like a $1 billion high-speed railway, the first ever in Southeast Asia. I'm here in her home in Pangandaran, away from the political deal-making in Jakarta, to ask her what she thinks it will take to calm the waters in the South China Sea. Susi Pudjiastuti, welcome to In Conversation.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to see you again.
Do you think that Pak Joko Widodo is being too friendly to Beijing now?
Oops. That conversation should go to the new minister, right? I think to make the the good cooperations between ASEAN country, basically, it's a good thing to be in a good cooperations together. So far, I think other side than about fisheries or oceans matter, I don't see anything that is worrying me. And you can't put good cooperation means you tolerate the illegal fishing. That's still my point of view.
You're saying that trade and business deals is one thing, but illegal fishing
it's
another matter.
Yes.
When you were minister, you said that China calls it fishing, Indonesia calls it crime. Do you still believe that about illegal fishing by Chinese vessels in the seas?
We have to be specific. We have UNCLOS that we all basically agreed, almost 100 more countries agreed.
The United Nations Law of the Sea.
Yes. And we agree that until ZEA, so Zone Economy Exclusive, which is 200 nautical miles, the resource and the sovereignty of its resource is belong to the state. While the free navigation, the passage for passing, it's okay. It still can be used, but not for fishing, because that is the state sovereignty resource. And sometimes I get some resource from inside military, whether from also other country, informing what is happening in North Natuna Sea, an example. It's a very sad.
You just used the term North Natuna Sea. That is an idea that you have been propagating, that part of the South China Sea should really be called North Natuna Sea.
Yeah, until the ZEA is our right to say that. That internationally, China say South China Sea until 200 nautical miles, our water, we can call it different name, just to define the different sea. Just to define that we don't talk somebody else EEZ. It's Indonesian sovereignty zone economy exclusive zone.
But China argues that these are its traditional fishing grounds. What do you say to that?
That's what I said. There is no such thing. In the UNCLOS, which is also basically recognize the fishing rights, if there is two countries committed together and agree to certain area certain time of period, like a contract between two countries. That's what it's called, fishing right, an agreement between two countries. But so far, I think even until now, when I was minister and until now, I don't hear anything that Indonesia and China are making an agreement about fishing in our water.
In 1982, the United Nations passed the Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS, establishing international rules to govern the world's oceans. UNCLOS also rules that countries like Indonesia can claim the rights to resources like oil and fish within 200 nautical miles of its shorelines, in what is referred to as an exclusive economic zone, or EEZ. In 2016, the Indonesian Coast Guard seized a Chinese vessel suspected of illegal fishing in Indonesian waters near the Natuna Islands, off the northwest coast of the island of Borneo. China, on the other hand, claims the boat was just carrying out normal production activities. So, do we need the Americans to protect the South China Sea? Do we need the Americans to protect North Natuna?
Well, I'm not defense minister. I'm not coming from the military side. So in my idea, by enforcing the illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing, every state basically could impose it to defend, to secure their sovereignty, also their resources. Do we need American? If this is in place, every country in ASEAN agree to fight illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing is imposed well, consistent, and basically, I call it, you don't have to be malu or shy or ashamed to impose it. This is our state sovereignty decision. You can make regulation. Every country has that. And UNCLOS is protect them.
Are you implying, therefore, the Americans are only there because they're filling a vacuum because ASEAN is not doing enough?
Yes, I do think so, yeah. I mean, I think if all ASEAN are agreed and being strong themselves to defend their sovereignty, their sustainability of their resource, and everybody impose. I mean, there is an experience of 5 years. I can give that an example. I'm not harming any person.
You blow up ships, though.
Yeah, the blow up is only little thing actually, just for the camera purpose. The rest is sinking peacefully to the oceans and become reefs. So I sink them peacefully and I think good for environment. But you can see there the activity of, you know, it's less conflict in South China Sea between Coast Guard and another Coast Guard and, yeah.
What about people who say, okay, you had the guts to go and do that, but it's not been continued. And if it doesn't continue, then people will go back to their bad, evil ways. And that we can see, unfortunately, that the statistics are moving all in that direction, not just for Indonesia, but globally.
For all other countries.
In fact, some experts say that, in fact, illegal fishing is becoming worse than even piracy. Yes. More is lost in terms of trade.
Transnational organized crime.
Exactly.
Drug, endangered species, and human trafficking.
So
it's also in that.
So was your blowing up of the ships, or sinking of the ships?
Yes.
Was that a failure?
Well, that is not continue. It's the failure of all of us, not me. I'm finished. I'm done my duty. It's the opportunity in the lifetime that you can make it to make a security and defense and sustainability in the same time, without creating so much of political issues, of possible risk of conflict between states.
So does this mean that you don't think that these ideas of these new military alliances, these alliances between Australia and India and all these different countries, AUKUS, Quad, they have all sorts of different names, but all of these military alliances, are they making things more peaceful or are they making things more dangerous? Because they argue that it's making the seas more peaceful.
For me, I have my small smile sometimes thinking of that. Maybe that's why men are running the world. They need to look macho with all the armed weapon and things. They forgot a great good policy that approach in smart way. So I invite all the ambassadors before I start moratorium. So I say, I need all your help to be cooperative with me. Starting from the 15th, I want all foreign vessel, ex-foreign vessel, because in the old day, they used camouflage by buying Indonesian flag. And if they still continue fishing, I will do the moratorium for 6 months while I'm doing the investigation and analysis and evaluation. So I want them to stop. If you still do, I said, I will sink your boat. And I will do it. Though maybe the sinking of the boat and on the media, I blow the boat, you know. It's a horrible and make people scared to see that. But that's the point, deterrent effect. There's nothing more scary for the owner of the boat or for the country. Country which is very strong, you can't go against the military-wise, do nothing. You don't even have the arm for it. I don't have the Meriam to blow the boat. I don't have anything. I'm a fisheries, marine affairs and fisheries minister.
Susi Pudjiastuti took an aggressive approach to fighting illegal fishing while she was in office, including pushing regulations to reduce the use of environmentally dangerous fishing practices, like trawler fishing. Some reports say the strict policies she implemented reduced illegal foreign fishing by more than 90%. But despite these results, President Joko Widodo did not reappoint Susi Pudjiastuti to his cabinet in 2019. This is going to sound like an unfair question, but people say the reason why you weren't reappointed is because you are too stubborn and you are not political enough. You do not suck up enough in Jakarta.
I'm too straightforward, I'm too outspoken. I'm saying my mind, and politicians don't like that. So, but yeah, I possible that one reason, but well, again, in the end, what I'm done, if other country would follow the same thing, that will be the peace, will be defending your sovereignty and resource. I think that's the great duty and obligation of a countryman. I mean, if you have power as a politician, you have to become a countryman. Countryman is looking after your country, after your people, after their welfare, and that's what to do.
So you're saying, if I understand from all of this, that if ASEAN and our politicians in ASEAN stepped up and actually enforced some of these rules about illegal fishing, about also piracy at sea, or trafficking and so on, if we just each enforced what the United Nations Law of the Sea says, we wouldn't need to have all of these defense agreements and the US and China conflicts spilling over into our part of the world.
I mean, we have to see also in the logistic-wise and the needs of US or Australia about the situation or the conducive environment in South China Sea, because they need to pass this water for their businesses, for their needs, for their country, for their military to go around, and they need this area. So they worry, while they see we are probably also weak
Ah, now, have you said the point?
I'm so sorry that I have to
Ibu,
say that.
isn't it, that we are weak? Is that where the problem
Maybe
is?
not exactly right, weak is the word for it, but like, you don't really care. Many politicians sometimes think of winning, but they forgot the big loss behind them, you know?
Do you think part of the problem is that we also, as Southeast Asians, that we don't care enough as well? The fishermen care, you care, but that we ordinary people, we don't care enough about the South China Sea. We don't care enough about North Natuna.
The politicians sometimes forgetting to remember the little part of the fishermen needs. They actually have to remember that ocean is the cheapest resource for protein for their people. I mean, farming, aquaculture, still need fish meal. You know, if you know the process of aquaculture, it's like we are doing a big joke. You know, you want to grow shrimps, you need 2.1 kilogram shrimp, you need 2.6 kilogram feed meal, which is 70% is fish meal you have to catch at sea. I mean, you know, so the best is, why don't you look at this thing? You can cover it up. You don't go frontal, direct against the big country that you might have trouble or problem with economy because you tied up economic-wise, you have a loan or anything. But
are we talking about China here?
Well, can be China, can be US, you know. Allowing US to go around is also increasing the possibility of conflict. You know, you should not allow them to go around and involve so much in our, for me, for Indonesia, it's North Natuna Sea. Or for Philippines, I don't know how they call their ocean sea name. Well, a corporation is so important, but none of the business of someone that's far away to be there. But okay, China is also close. But do you allow them also to control the whole situation just because you worry that US or Australia being there, coming from far away? You know, it's not that the point. Why just don't make it simple? Tackling illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing is the way you keep the peace, the good, free passage, ambience, environment, and you protecting your people resource. You protecting your people economy.
You make it sound so simple.
Well, I did it simple by blowing several boats, and there, thousands of them gone without any bullets, without any. Oh, maybe I'm Indonesians say ibu gila, so
crazy woman.
I don't mind, you know. And it's interesting that finally I heard that the Foreign Policy magazine put me into 10 global thinker of security and defense, and I was just surprised. How do they know actually the behind my mind? Because behind my mind, that's what it is. Not just about fishing. Because I think now the most important, you have to be aware, the traffic of illegal matters is much, much more over the sea, over the port. Also, if not, there is the port, okay, it's controlled, fine. But there is transshipment. One of the things that I'm already talking to United Nations, to also FAO, that to protect, continue the fight of illegal fishing is you have to stop the transshipment at sea. I mean, why you develop or build big project for your harbor?
Yeah, but you allow people to just transfer the shipments out at high sea. Yeah.
Near your port. I mean,
it makes a joke of everything.
Yes. I said the transnational organized crime tackling, one of the things is the Port State Measure Agreement. Okay, Port State Measure Agreement. This illegal activity doesn't need port. So without you ban transshipment, the port measures agreement is like a tiger without teeth.
So would all of this be solved if we just made Susi Pudjiastuti president of ASEAN?
Oceans.
Yes.
For my love of ocean, for my love of fish, of my love of the freedom at sea. If that's possible a job, yeah, I will take it. But that's won't be happening, you know.
They called you a hero. Do you think you're a hero?
I don't think so. I'm just a normal human.
Well, you're definitely not normal, but...
I think, yeah, but people say here gila. So, but I'm thinking there are many other more gila people than me. So I'm just a normal people. I love my heart, my life, my brain, my mind. Maybe 70 to 80% my oceans, wherever it is. I love to see them blue and clean and healthy. And basically this planet, 70% oceans. They the biggest part of us. Without them, we cannot survive. So well, if I can put my energy, my time for anything that is good for the oceans and the free passage of anyone, of any fisherman, of any trading activity, military activity, that's nothing about conflict and shooting each other to kill, I would be very happy to be there.
Susi Pudjiastuti, thank you very much for being on In Conversation.
Thank you.